Hi, welcome to Forbes Newsroom. We're with Matt Durot, a reporter on the wealth team. Matt, you've got a story out about Larry Ellison. What's he up to now?
Thanks, Diane. Yeah, as our readers and viewers may remember, he made pretty big news earlier in the year when all these stories came out that he had joined a conference call in November 2020 with the likes of Sean Hannity and some others, basically to discuss ways to overturn the 2020 presidential election. And digging into his campaign donations for the midterms, we found that he has basically self-funded a PAC which has turned around and given a bunch of its money to four very prominent election deniers.
And who are the four lucky recipients of his money?
So Herschel Walker being the biggest, if not one of the two biggest, who's obviously been in the news.
This is the man who's allegedly funded a girlfriend's abortion, et cetera, et cetera.
Exactly. So yeah, he's not had a good news week or month. Adam Laxalt in Nevada was a former attorney general there and the chair of Trump's statewide campaign, supported lawsuits seeking to overturn the Nevada results and denied the results at the time. Ted Budd in North Carolina was one of the 100+ Republicans who voted not to certify President Biden's election. He objected to that. And then Ron Johnson in Wisconsin, who's a little more tricky. He did a lot of flip-flopping, ultimately conceded that Biden had won. But then the January 6th committee alleged that a staffer of his had offered to deliver a slate of fake electors to a staffer of Pence, former Vice President Mike Pence, basically as a part of a plot to overturn the election. And Johnson originally denied any involvement or knowledge and then later backtracked, saying, his involvement was limited to a few text messages over a few seconds, and he still didn't really understand what was going on.
Let's ask a bit about the significance of the money. Let's start, first of all, with Larry Ellison himself. What is his net worth? I mean, this is a huge chunk of money he's donated, but it is a fraction of what he's currently worth, is it not?
Very small fraction, yeah. He's worth in the range of 90 billion. So, obviously, it doesn't make a big dent in his pockets, but compared to his past political activity, it definitely represents a significant step up for him. Previously, the most he'd ever spent in an election cycle was $7 million. So about half what he spent on this one PAC alone. That was in 2020. And a big chunk of that actually went to this same PAC, $5 million.
Do you have any sense as to sort of, I mean, I know you've been tracking him for some time, sort of, other than the phone call, just the evolution of his own thinking on this and why these particular four are so important to be supporting?
Yeah, I think he's, as you might expect, remained pretty quiet on the matter. And, only he knows what his true motivations are for, having, his money end up in these four candidates' hands. And, I just think, regardless, the optics aren't great given, that call 2 years ago.
Are these, with this amount of money, is that, I mean, it could be pivotal in terms of campaigns, but in terms of the outcome, since we're heading into the midterms, why is it that you are tracking the money more broadly? You had an article out as well, just looking at where the donations are of billionaires writ large to mainly Republicans, but also Democrats. What is it that you're finding with this election? It seems like there's a lot more money being thrown into these vehicles.
Yeah, no, it definitely does seem that way. And, you can kind of go about it one of two ways. You can, when we set out to find the billionaire donors to these to individual candidates in a race or the House as a whole or the Senate as a whole, you can, look to the candidates' official campaigns and find a long list of 40 to 50 billionaires given the $2,900 maximum, or you can look at these super PACs, usually backed by a smaller number of billionaires, but giving a lot more. So that really seems to be where the big money is going.
Obviously people should check out the article. Any particular takeaway you have in terms of Larry Ellison's involvement, in terms of particular even policies that he is supporting, other than perhaps questioning the results of the last election?
Yeah. So this PAC, Opportunity Matters, is pretty closely aligned with Republican Senator Tim Scott from South Carolina, who Ellison is supposedly pretty good friends with. I think there was reporting that Tim Scott had flown out to Hawaii to kind of court him, and much of how this PAC ends up supporting these candidates we've talked about is in videos of Tim Scott endorsing the candidates. So I'm open to the idea that there was some degree of, loyalty to his friend Tim Scott here, who also is a big recipient of the PAC, but doesn't change my view that it remains a little curious.
20 million's a lot of loyalty. Let's
just
exactly put it that way. Great. Well, Matt, thanks for joining us, and be sure to check out the article. Thank you.